There is a special place in the history of sports reserved for the earliest generations of football players, men who stepped into a world far different from the one we see today. Before the dazzling lights, before billion-dollar franchises, before football became a cultural giant, it was a raw and rugged battleground shaped by individuals whose courage and passion laid the foundation for everything the NFL is today. Back then, the game wasn't fueled by fame or massive contracts. There were no private jets, no brand partnerships, no endless rows of cameras capturing every moment. What existed instead was something purer, something powerful. A deep love for the sport. A desire to compete. A willingness to endure pain simply for the privilege of stepping onto the field. These were players who often worked day jobs, some in factories, some in military service, others in local labor just to support their families. Football wasn't a career, it was a calling. And every Sunday, they transformed from ordinary men into warriors of the gridiron. The fields were rough, the equipment was basic, and the hits were unforgiving. Leather helmets, thin pads, and cold, muddy stadiums were the reality. Every tackle left a mark. Every game became part of their legacy. And though the crowds were smaller and the game less polished, the intensity was every bit as fierce as it is today. As the decades rolled on, these players created unforgettable moments etched into the early identity of American football. They brought toughness, strategy, and style to the sport. They played through broken ribs, twisted ankles, and pounding headaches. They played through snowstorms, scorching heat, and violent collisions that tested not just their bodies but their spirit. And they did it all because they believed in the game. Because it meant something. Their strength inspired communities. Their performances sparked rivalries. Their courage created heroes for young fans who dreamed of stepping onto the same field someday. But behind the cheers and the glory, there was also sacrifice. These athletes paid a price, sometimes immediately, sometimes decades later. They knew pain more intimately than most. They carried injuries long after their retirements. They endured conditions that modern medical science is only beginning to understand. Yet, they rarely complained. They rarely paused. And they rarely stepped back from the sport they loved. As they grew older, many transitioned into new roles: coaches, mentors, fathers, community leaders. Some stayed close to the sport, pouring their wisdom into younger athletes who would carry the torch into the next generation. Others quietly moved away from the spotlight, embracing family life and simpler, quieter days. Still, time has a way of catching up with even the strongest among us. For these early giants of the NFL, the battles they fought on the field eventually gave way to battles in life. Illness, age, injury, and tragedy touched each of them in different ways. Some passed suddenly. Others faced long declines, surrounded by loved ones who cherished them. Some fought bravely against diseases that slowly took away their strength or memory. But even in their final days, their spirit, the same spirit that carried them down the field so many years before, never truly faded. Their lives were more than statistics. More than game logs. More than championship scores. Their stories were about perseverance. About rising after every fall. About giving everything you have, even when no one knows your name. These men didn't just play football, they shaped it. They transformed it into a symbol of American determination, teamwork, and heart. Every modern player runs on fields paved by these legends. The rules that protect athletes today came from lessons learned through their injuries. The innovations in strategy came from their creativity. The passion fans feel came from the moments they created, moments that can still give people chills decades later. And though many of these players are no longer with us, their legacy lives on in ways that can't be measured by trophies or awards. Their legacy lives in the roar of the stadium when a team takes the field. In the excitement of a child wearing their favorite jersey. In the pride of a community rallying around their team. In the millions of fans who gather every Sunday to experience the thrill they helped build. We honor them not just for how they played, but for who they were. Men of resilience. Men of grit. Men of purpose.